Let's dive into these running backs, Emory. And you have a different number one running back than I think a lot of people seem to have. Your number one ranked guy is Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. And I remember you talking about him a lot last year before he even transferred, I think.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs to me, man, just like a fantastic tailback. I know people will throw out the Alvin Kamara comparison. I can understand that. I'm not going to argue with that. He's someone that has that explosiveness, has the second and third gear. I'm trying to find a scouting report that I pulled up. I had to get through these 85 quarterbacks right quick. But here we go. I did compare him to Alvin Kamara. But when you think about his vision, that's what makes the whole thing work because he has elite level vision. He's much more explosive and faster than Alvin Kamara and is much more of a natural runner with the ball. Can give you all the things that Kamara can do, like the receiving threat down the field. He's a strong runner, and I think he's underrated in that aspect. Yeah, he measured in at what 5'9" and some change, and 199. He'll be 205 by the time the season start, and he doesn't play like he's 5'9" or whatnot. So to me, he's a really great back, and we're splitting hairs between him and Bijan. Although I will say this just to give folks a tidbit, a look into the draft guide. I do have him 5 points ahead of Bijan. Bijan has a high grade at 85, and Jahmyr Gibbs has that ever so rare 90 grade that I rarely give out. And only a few prospects have gotten that grade from me. Gabe Jackson, I gave to Lamar Jackson. I gave it to Mahomes, Watson. There's a receiver that they got a 90 grade for me this year. There's some other guys on defense that I'm forgetting, but right now offense is fresh in my brain. So yeah, he is a really good back.
What did you say? You think he's more explosive and natural of a runner than Kamara?
Yeah, Kamara to me is a really good runner, right? And but when you look at Gibbs is more natural as a tailback because he's making moves, constantly going downhill. He sees it front side to backside, has the fluidity to get there, and also has the second gear explosive and knowing how to reignite that ignition to really blow past second level defenders. I feel like Kamara's speed is good, but he kind of runs that one speed, and Gibbs may not be as strong as Kamara. Kamara was a ridiculous, I want to say, power cleaner. So his strength is ridiculous. He breaks a lot of tackles, like a lot of physical tackles. But Gibbs has a little bit of that, but also has the elusiveness to not even get touched by guys. So to me, just a little bit more of a natural runner than Kamara, who is also excellent.
It is interesting and noteworthy to me that you have Gibbs ahead of Bijan Robinson because just seeing some of the other scouting reports by guys like Daniel Jeremiah that I respect, they have Bijan really, really high. I mean, they think he is a fantastic player. What do you see from the Texas runner?
He reminds me a lot of Cedric Benson. I feel like he does the same things Benson used to do at Texas, like a good, compact, shifty runner, doesn't overextend unnecessarily. And what I mean by that is that's someone that just kind of, understands, hey, I have speed, I have explosiveness. I don't have to use it right at the snap of the football. I can buy my time, and when I get into the open field or where I see I have a crease, I could then mash the gas and blow past. And what I liked about Bijan that I was able to uncover when I spoke with him at the combine was that he talked about how he works on his game as a receiver. After practice, he spends time with his running backs coach, and they run receiver routes. So he's a downfield threat in that aspect. Now, again, he's not as explosive as Gibbs, but he is pretty fast. He's pretty quick. That's why I compared it more to Cedric Benson. I know we've seen like the Saquon Barkley comp thrown out there. I don't agree with that. Barkley was much more explosive and faster. Barkley was what, a 4.4 guy, and at his pro they ran like 4.3. That's not Bijan Robinson's game, although he's pretty fast. Bijan has great within the contact, within the tackle box elusiveness. So he can make guys miss subtly. And you can remember this reference, Ross. Think back to that because we're old heads, we're football heads. You think back to Marcus Allen in the Super Bowl against the Redskins, right? Not the long run, but the shorter touchdown run. We kind of cut it back in between the tackle, weaved his way and found the end zone, dove for the end zone. that's kind of how Bijan is within the tackle box on a consistent basis. Like, wow, he was able to make that subtle cut, that subtle move right there before he was able to get hit and avoid a big shot and break it outside. So to me, Bijan is a fantastic tailback. And again, we try to ask him. I could say this: we tried to ask him. Me and Danny Cannell was like, "Hey, what team you want to be picked by?" And he did the great answer of not answering the question, right? Um, and so after we were done, I told Danny, and this was before the trade. I was like, "Yo, if I'm Chicago, I'm taking him." And he was like, "Man, that's a good spot." But now trading down to 9, Chicago still is in play, but when you look at their front 7, they definitely have to go defense because they need help on the front side of that defensive side of the ball. Although Bijan would be a luxury pick, and any running back you pair with a mobile quarterback is going to do great things. But man, I'm a big fan of Bijan as well.
Number 3 running back is Deuce Vaughn from K-State.
I don't care about height, weight, size, none of that, Ross. I am team size is not a skill. That's my tagline. And this dude has shown you at K-State, kind of like the other smallest, shorter, explosive, quicker K-State tailback, that, hey, I could tote the rock 20, 25 times a game if need be. And I'm talking about Darren Sproles. Deuce Vaughn does a lot of the same things and is the same type of back. He is explosive. He's, extremely agile. And one of my Emoryisms that I always say on CBS Sports HQ is that you can't hit what you can't catch, and you can't hurt what you can't touch. So people that always want to throw out there, well, can he handle the rigors of the NFL? You got to catch him first, and you got to hit him. 2 things that people can't really do either of at a higher level. So yeah, I'm all in on Deuce Vaughn and what he brings to the table. He's also a guy that's a really good receiver too. And if you want to have him start out to kind of earn his wares, he can return kicks as well.
The one thing I think is funny about the can he carry the load? Can he carry 20, 25 times? Who even does that anymore? Nobody does that. I mean, Derrick Henry maybe every once in a while, but is he the type of back that can carry 20? Show me all I would love to know how many times there was a game this year where a running back had more than 22 carries. It just doesn't happen very often.
I mean, if you want to, I'll give you a number. It's Daniel Jones's tailback that they gave the money to Daniel Jones, but they should have given it to Saquon. Had 31 carries, 156 yards against the Bears, but and Daniel Jones went 5-11 for 50-something yards passing, but he gets the big contract. I'm off my soapbox, Ross.
Unbelievable. All right, another guy that's got some serious juice that I enjoyed watching play multiple times. I never heard him coming into the year. I saw like 3 Tulane games this year. Tajay Spears impressed me. He's got some juice.
He got some legitimate juice. And when I talk about that reigniting the starter and being able to find that 3rd and 4th gear, that's him, man. And it's just impressive to watch. And I made this comp in the summer on this show, and I'll make the comp again because, yes, there are 2 different sizes, but they play the same game. I like his game to Breece Hall. They're both the same type of runner, just kind of good, like productive front forward leaning runners that have that ability to find the 2nd gear, and in some cases, and speaking of Spears, find that 3rd gear. I was shocked he didn't run at the combine because I would almost bet that he would have gone 4.4 with how explosive he's able to maintain his speed. He's able to get up his top speed, but also maintain that and also find another gear to hit. So he's another one of these guys that has the ability to catch the ball in the backfield. We saw at the Senior Bowl because he caught some good passes at Tulane, but we want to see, can he be like a downfield threat? He can do that. He can be your starter. He's someone that doesn't need volume to be successful, although with a guy like that, you kind of want to have him on the field a lot because he's a really good player. Another one of these guys that earned a very high grade for me in this class.
Number 5 is a guy, I think you might have hinted about this a couple of weeks ago, or maybe you were just telling me offline. It's Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, listen, explosive speed. Like, his explosiveness doesn't even make sense. Like, he can get from a dead standstill to 2-point stance to 70 miles an hour, right? He can catch the ball out of the backfield, not just your meets expectation back, but a guy that can be a downfield threat. He's one of the more fantastic a return specialist, so he can start there and have an impact on special teams. And again, another guy that doesn't need volume to be successful. He was able to, split carries rather well. At ECU, they had a really great backfield tandem. We'll be talking about their other kid, Harris, next year, who's going back for another season at East Carolina. But, Mitchell was someone that you just saw constantly, time and time again, making the big play, has a great sense of timing. We talk about that a lot where, hey, man, I need a big play right here. Then, boom, here comes Mitchell breaking one outside and getting down the sideline. So I'm a big fan of Mitchell too. Um, One of those guys that, again, if you're thinking, it's funny you brought up like nobody carries the ball 20, 25 times. Who does that? And then you think, as people say that, they also rave about Austin Eckler, who's a starter at 5'9", 190 pounds. So yeah, Mitchell can be someone that could be your starting tailback. He can be someone that could work well in tandem. It doesn't matter. You want that speed and explosiveness on your football team.
Let's talk about some underrated guys, because that's what people always like to get from you, Emory, is some guys maybe under the radar that you really like.
I just like watching this kid run, and that's Lou Nichols of Central Michigan. He had a lot of fanfare last year when he ran for over 1,500 yards at Central Michigan. This year, the team wasn't as good. We had a good start to the season against Oklahoma State. He's a really good back, good size, good build, a good all-around game. And he's one of these guys that you'll see, like your Damian Pierce or your James Robinson. I know he's going to be on his third team now, but this is someone like that to where by week 5, you're like, well, why did this guy go in the 7th round? Why did this guy go undrafted? And he's really good. Lou Nichols is a good one. And Jarek Broussard of Michigan State kind of got lost in the shuffle. People forget how outstanding he was as a true freshman at Colorado, or his redshirt freshman year at Colorado, and then had a solid year in 2020, the COVID season. And then he transferred to Michigan State, and it was kind of reserved, but the speed and explosiveness is still there. Your ability within the tackle box is still there. And I saw him down at the College Gridiron Showcase. He had a really good week of work. It was kind of shocked that he was there, because that's the type of guy that usually ends up in a Shrine game or NFLPA game. But these are some of the guys from major programs, a Power 5 program and a Group of 5 program that we watch every Tuesday in Maction, that are really good players.
All right, give me an Emory special though now. Give me a sleeper, maybe from a college I've never even heard of, that you like.
Going back to the first place, I had duck. I was at this nice restaurant sitting on the sidewalk outside enjoying the Canadian air in London, Ontario, on the campus, or right nearby the campus of Western University. I'm going back to Western University, and Keon Edwards, 5'11", 230 with some bursts. He's built a lot like Lou Nichols, but has explosiveness, has speed. He was someone that I saw in the summer at the 2022 East-West Bowl. They played their all-star game before the season. And, this year the game was in Ottawa on the campus of McMaster University. And so he is someone that just is fantastic, and again, he may end up going to Canadian Football League. He's going to get drafted in the CFL, probably plays up there. But it wouldn't surprise me to see him get into a camp and have, some opportunities here in the States because of his burst, his explosiveness, and the size he brings. He's a legit 225, 230 at 5'11". So, and Western has produced some really good pro players, guys that have played in the NFL, that have been stars in the CFL. It's one of the really good programs in the U Sports arena.
Yeah, that's probably the only one I really know very well is Western. They've had a bunch of guys they produced over the years. All right, it's not a position that gets a lot of attention or fanfare, but there are teams out there in the NFL utilizing fullbacks very effectively, like the Niners, like the Dolphins, and with Shanahan's proteges going all over the place, I think there's going to be more fullbacks in the NFL. Who should we be looking for at that position?
I'll give you two. My number one fullback, Hunter Luepke. We spoke about him ad nauseum on this show, Ross. We both like him as a player. And it's not because he's wearing 44, Ross. I know some people will say Kyle Juszczyk. Fine, I'll give you that. That's you can have that one, right? But let's go to Tom Rathman, man, right? Let's go back to old school. He can carry the ball. He can block. He's a downfield threat in the passing game. He does everything that you want him to do well. You can even go to someone more recent, Zach Line, how he was at SMU. Toted the rock, was a very good tailback, got switched to fullback at the Shrine Bowl the same year Christian Michael was there, and he was playing more fullback. But Lukey, every time you look at him, he's toting the rock rather well, breaking long runs. He is someone that's tailor-made for Baltimore. I'm glad you brought up Miami. San Francisco is already in good hands. It wouldn't surprise me to see him end up in Denver now with Sean Payton. He's versatile as heck, man. So this is someone that you want on your team. And talking about versatility, Javon Williams Jr. out of Southern Illinois. Ross, I was shocked that I'm not surprised, but I'm shocked that no one's talking about this dude. This dude has started at tailback and ran for over 1,000 yards in 2019. But he's also been a fullback. He's been an H-back, tight end, wide receiver. Also has been a quarterback, has thrown 5 touchdown passes in his career. And so inside the red zone, they use him as that Taysom Hill type guy. So now you don't know what's coming. He can throw rather accurately. He can run the football rather well. He can block. He can catch the ball like a receiver. And he's 6'1", 245. So he's got good size, good build, and is one of the more versatile athletes in the class. Again, ran for over 1,000 yards a couple of years ago as a tailback. And I was like, oh, this dude is a big back with some speed, kind of like James Conner. But then you see him the following year get out there at receiver and run routes and be effective. And then now this past season playing more of an H-back role, had a really good game against Northwestern. So he is someone that is a phenomenal, versatile athlete that plays fullback that is definitely going to find his way on the NFL roster.
You need to check this man out on social media. You need to do 2 things. One is you need to get ready for Mother's Day and go to myfrontpagestory.com because it's the best gift you could ever get any of the mothers in your lives, especially yours. And then you need to go to footballgameplan.com/2023 draft guide to make sure you are all over Emory stuff. Look, we got to 8 guys today? 9? There's a lot more where that came from if you get the draft guide. Footballgameplan.com/2023 draft guide. Love when you guys tweet me or email me and tell me that you bought it. That's the way to do it. And check him out on social at FBallGamePlan on Twitter. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. The keg is kicked. We are all tapped out.
Thanks for listening to the College Draft Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, Even Money, and the Business of Sports. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.